fortunate to have her grace Kalashudha Mataji. Mataji is going to continue on the topic of the nectar of Sri Nityananda Ashtakam, session 3. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening us on this topic. I'll hand over the call to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And we're very grateful to all the organizers of the Bhakti Sangha call to give this opportunity for rendering some service. So today we will continue with the Sri Nityananda Ashtakam. And by Lord Nityananda's mercy, hopefully we will be able to complete it. We are remaining with the last four verses of Sri Nityananda Ashtakam. So we will start with some invocation prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanatha Swami Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaurakatha Dhamadaya Nagaragramatarine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukham karoti vachalam pangur langayate girim. Yat kripata maham vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinang Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So this beautiful Sri Nityananda Ashtakam, as is written by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, we are in text 5 of Sri Nityananda Ashtakam. Yatheshtam rebhrata kuru Hari Hari Dhvanam Manisam Tato va samsaram buddhi Taranadayo mai laget Idam bahusfote ratati Ratayanya pratigriham Bhaje Nityanandam bhajana Tarukandam niravadhi. Translation: O brothers, simply chant incessantly the names of Sri Hari and let the responsibility of delivering you from the ocean of repeated birth and death rest upon me. While traveling constantly, Lord Nityananda approached the door of everyone's home, declaring this with outstretched arms. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. You can see how much mercy Sri Nityananda Prabhu is having. And Nityananda Prabhu, he is saying that all you have to do is just take the names of Lord Hari, and the rest I will take care. Such a guarantee, such an assurance Lord Nityananda is giving to us, that simply chant constantly the names of Hari, and then you leave the responsibility of delivering you from birth and death, you leave that upon me. This is the assurance of the Adi Guru Sri Nityananda Ram. Do we need anything else other than this? That our responsibility, our end of the deal, this is a deal, that when we also receive initiation from the spiritual master, The spiritual master promises us, he assures us that he will definitely take us back home, back to Godhead, as long as we are upholding our side of the deal. Our side of the deal being that we will chant minimum 16 rounds every day. We will follow the four regulative principles with sincerity. And we will try to share Krishna consciousness to help our spiritual master in fulfilling the mission of Srila Prabhupada. These are the three promises that we make to our spiritual master at the time of initiation. And before we pick up our beads every single day, we should refresh this moment of initiation when we are vowing to our spiritual master every single day. We should actually relive that moment. Because if we all see that, whether we are, even if we are not initiated, the very first time a devotee taught us how to chant the Mahamantra, that special moment, when we really felt that happiness by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that is what we must remember every day. You see, this is something that always happens because of our material contamination. That same determination, that same motivation to chant our rounds, maybe sometimes does not happen every single day. At least I can say that for myself. It doesn't happen all the time. Every moment it doesn't stay like that. So, in order for us to stay in that high consciousness all the time, we should try to remind ourselves of the high moments in our own lives. When the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra really gave us some strong, will to move forward. It gave us that, that longingness for Krishna. This happens in everybody's life, even up to Sri Narad Muni. Narad Muni, in his previous life, he was the son of the maid servant, and he actually served the Mahabhagavatas along with his mother. And his mother would make nice preparations for the Mahabhagavatas, and Narad Muni would serve them with great devotion. And after they would finish honoring the prasad, Narad Muni would very respectfully, after taking their permission, he would actually clear out their plates and he would take Mahaprasad from the plates of the remnants of these Mahabhagavatas. And because he took the remnants of the Mahaprasad of these Mahabhagavatas, Narad Muni, we see that in his previous life, as that little boy, the Mahabhagavatas took him, along with them, and they taught him devotional practices. As a result of which, Narad Muni started performing severe austerities. The Mahabhagavatas had taught him, that little boy, they had taught him how to meditate on Krishna, remembering the form of Krishna, chanting the mantras. So Narad Muni followed that procedure. And immediately, because of that childlike innocence, and with all sincerity and with full dependence, Narad Muni had called out to Krishna. Krishna actually appeared before him just for a single moment. Just for one single moment, Krishna appeared, and immediately Krishna disappeared. And as soon as Krishna disappeared, Narad Muni became very agitated. That little boy, Narad Muni in his previous life, that little boy became very agitated. Where is that beautiful form of Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Why can't I see Krishna? And then he heard the voice of the Supreme Lord, which said that, my dear boy, you will be able to see me only now in your next life. So I gave you this darshan of mine to increase your hankering, to increase your lalasa, to increase your greed for having my darshan. So just like when we have a drop of honey that is poured on our tongue, we feel that sweet nectar in our tongue. As it dissolves, we want more and more and more. But if we keep getting it and we don't know how to value it, then we lose the importance for drinking honey. Similarly, Krishna said that, my dear boy, you have got this one darshan of mine so that it will increase your hankering to see me. And I don't want you to take my darshan for granted. Don't want you to take it for granted. So please hanker for it and you will get it, I assure you. You will be able to see me. So, with that assurance, Narad Muni, that little boy, he started performing his sadhana. He started performing his sadhana with that one statement of the Lord that, yes, one day I will get the darshan of the Lord. Every day, that was his motivation to do his sadhana every single day. So when we are in, and that was the result that for which he, in his next life, he became the great revered, the traveling spaceman Narada Muni. So Narad Muni is teaching us by his own example how we should not take it for granted, the mercy of the Lord. Never take it for granted. Sometimes when we are able to do some service, sometimes when we are chanting very sincerely, sometimes when we are associating and serving with the association of devotees, we tend to take it for granted. Not because of any vice on our side, but just because it's our nature. It's just the nature of the conditioned living entities to take things for granted. So, therefore, sometimes to increase the lalasa, to increase our attachment to Krishna, Krishna apparently takes some things away. And when he takes some things away, we realize what importance that particular commodity had in our life. Just like the gopis, when they were dancing in the rasa dance with Krishna, each gopi was feeling so blessed, so fortunate that Krishna is only with me. He's dancing with me. Krishna chose me. As soon as they took Krishna for granted, Krishna disappeared from their sight. He disappeared from their vision. But did he disappear to punish them? No. Krishna never punishes anybody. Krishna is not a dictator. He's not an autocrat. He's the most merciful. Just like how we are always looking for love. We want to be loved. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So if we have this much desire that people should really love us, how much more, in what capacity, in what completeness would Krishna possess this attribute? He really wants genuine love from all of us. He wants us to love him. So in order to increase the love within us, Krishna sometimes disappears. And that actually increased the love of the gopis. The gopis actually sang in beautiful separation from Krishna. They were singing the Gopi Geet, that Krishna, please, please, please appear before us. Their hankering for meeting Krishna was increasing moment by moment. They never chastised him. They chastised him out of love. They did say that, you think you're a great warrior, Krishna, this, that, you please, forget your all these qualities and you just appear before us. That was the level of the love that the gopis had for Krishna. But never at one moment did the gopis feel that, Krishna, you've abandoned us. They knew for sure that Krishna can never abandon them. As long as they have their life heirs, Krishna can never abandon them. So that is the faith of a devotee. Avashya Rakshive Krishna E Vishwash. That the devotee has firm, unflinching faith in the lotus feet of Krishna, that Krishna will protect us in all circumstances, come what may. No matter what, Krishna will protect, as long as we are upholding our side of the deal, which is to follow the instructions that are being given to us by our spiritual masters. Simply to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. the instructions of Lord Nityananda that we are reading here in this verse today. Lord Nityananda is just saying one thing: just incessantly chant the names of Lord Hari, and I will take care of the rest. This is the same assurance that Srila Prabhupada gave. Srila Prabhupada also says that you just chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds every day of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I am assuring you that I will take you back home, back to Godhead. That is Srila Prabhupada's guarantee in the following in the mood of Lord Nityananda. That is the guarantee of our spiritual masters, of our Guru Vargas. That if we are doing our part and not taking this mercy for granted, sometimes, we hear so many devotees saying that, that intensity, that love for, chanting our japa or to render services doesn't come. We are not so enthusiastic every day. How to maintain that enthusiasm? The answer is there in the question itself. The answer to this is by remembering, by constantly remembering that one moment when we felt ultimate dependence on Guru and Krishna. If we are initiated, let me say first, if we are not initiated. If we are not initiated, the moment when a devotee handed the beads to us, showed us how to chant japa, and how much happiness we did derive by chanting the japa, that is the moment that we need to remember. That will motivate us every single day. If we just remember that moment before we start chanting. For those initiated devotees, the moment of initiation, we have felt most connected to our spiritual masters at that moment when the spiritual master hands us the japa mala, tells us our new name, gives us our new name, and we promise to him that we will chant 16 rounds minimum every single day. We'll follow the four regulative principles, and we will help our spiritual master in executing and spreading the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So just remembering this one moment will give us the motivation to chant enthusiastically every single day. This is my personal experience. That no matter what, come what may, if we can just remember this one moment where we actually, we had surrendered at that moment. We had surrendered. And if we can remember that moment of surrender every single day, then that will help us keep motivated. That will help us to stay enthusiastic in the devotional service of Krishna. So just remembering it, just remembering that particular time helps us. So this is what exactly Lord Nityananda is saying. Sri Nityananda Ram, he is saying that just incessantly chant the names of Sri Hari, and you give me the responsibility of delivering you. I will take care of you. This is my guarantee. You just chant. All you need to do is chant. And I will deliver you from the repeated ocean of birth and death. So in this mood, Lord Nityananda himself, he used to, it is said here, while traveling constantly, he approached the door of every home, knocking on their door. Hey, bhai, please, please, please chant the holy names. If Lord Nityananda Prabhu can do this, we can also try, following in his footsteps, following in this mood of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Instead of going door to door, we can now try, technology with the current circumstances that we are in. We have social distancing. We should maintain the guidelines that are given to us by the government. We should maintain that. So we can at least tap everyone technologically. We can ping our Facebook friends, make them join and listen to some Krishna Katha. Somehow or the other, try to reach out to new people. Give them a chance to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Make their lives successful. This is a, trying time. This pandemic is giving us, an opportunity where people are looking We are seeing so many cases. We are coming across so many souls who are actually looking for meditation, for peace, some mantras, some chants that can give them some, relief from anxiety. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is capable of doing that. And all we have to do is reach out. By staying in the comfort of our own homes, we can use the technology at our fingertips and we can reach out to the people in general. So, nothing, really nothing, can be an excuse to not share Krishna consciousness. We have so many ways to share and, give an opportunity to new people to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then that will be so pleasing to Lord Nityananda. It is said that Lord Nityananda actually gives a special protection. When we go into battle, how they actually wear kavachas, like protective shields, like armors. They wear armors so that the weapons coming from the opposing party does not injure us. So Lord Nityananda, he actually provides special protective armor against the onslaughts of Maya. Because when we start chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when we start distributing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are actually declaring a war against Maya. So when we do that, that moment, we need all sorts of protection that is available. And Lord Nityananda gives us that protective shield. He gives us such a protection that Lord Nityananda's mercy gives us that kind of protection that we can stay safe through this onslaught of Maya, in this battle against Maya Devi. So with this, we come to the next verse, text 6. बलात् संसाराम्बोनिधि हरणकुम्भोद्भवमहो सतां श्रेयसिन्धुनाति कुमुदबन्धुं समुदितं खलश्रेणिस्फूर्जतिमिर हरसूर्यप्रभमः भजे नित्यानन्दं भजना तरukandam niravadhi. How astonishing! He is just like Agastya Muni, who once swallowed the entire ocean, forcibly swallowing the ocean of repeated birth and death. He is the rising moon that causes the ocean of saintly persons' good fortune to swell. He is the brilliant sun, blazing before the multitude of rogues and dispelling the darkness of their ignorance. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. Here, there is a reference in this verse. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur very beautifully references Agastya Muni. Agastya Muni is once said to have completely swallowed the ocean. It was because there were some demons who had taken shelter of the ocean and they were hiding in the ocean, and they would come out during the daytime and they would torture the sadhus. So all the sadhus, they approached Agastya Muni, and Agastya Muni was very, very powerful yogi and a rishi. So that these demons could be killed, he just in one go, he swallowed the entire ocean. And all these demons were really, they were revealed and they were thus killed. So similarly, here the analogy of Agastya Muni is being used by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur in order to glorify Lord Nityananda, that he is capable of swallowing, Lord Nityananda, he is capable of swallowing the ocean of repeated birth and death. This material ocean is swallowed by Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is only capable of doing that. And when Lord Nityananda swallows this ocean of material existence, all of our anarthas, everything is revealed from our heart. The demons that are residing in our hearts are revealed, so that by this chanting of the holy names, all these demons can be vanquished, they can be destroyed, they can be killed. The demons of lust, pride, greed, envy, anger, illusion, arrogance, all of this can be just killed by Lord Nityananda's mercy. The demons that are residing in our own bodies, they can be just destroyed, vanquished completely. Because Lord Nityananda just drinks up the ocean, these demons are immediately relieved, and pow, 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 they're all gone by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. That's his mercy. That is the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda. So, Lord Nityananda, he is like that rising moon that causes the ocean of saintly persons' good fortune to swell. You know, when the moon rises in the sky, it is said that the ocean takes on, the waves become more, engorged actually. They swell up. The ocean swells when the moon rays falls on the ocean. So similarly, when the moon, Nitai Pada Kamala, Koti Chandra Shushitala, the Lord Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet is like Koti Chandra. It's like millions and millions of moons that come together. So when in the hearts of the sadhus, in the hearts of the sadhakas, when the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, the moon-like lotus feet of Lord Nityananda Prabhu rises, all of the good fortune of that particular sadhaka also rises along with that. What a beautiful analogy. That when we make place for the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda in our hearts, then good fortune will automatically come. It will automatically come. There's no need to do anything else in order for us to be specially fortunate. If we simply try to make Lord Nityananda's lotus feet as residents in our heart, then all good fortune is bound to become our, bound to be with us. All good fortune. And it is also said here that he is as brilliant as the sun. When the sun rises, it is said that the sun's brilliance, sucks away all kinds of dirt, filth. All of this dirt and filth is also absorbed by the sun's rays. The sun's rays are so powerful. It can purify and absorb all sinful things, all dirty things. It has the potency to do that. So similarly, he is Lord Nityananda. He is not only compared to the moon, but here in this same verse, Lord Nityananda is compared to the moon as well as to the sun, because he is as brilliant as the sun, and he blazingly he dispels the darkness of ignorance of the rogues of our mind. He just completely dispels their darkness. So this is the glory of Lord Nityananda, how he is so much always thinking of the welfare of all living beings. Moving on to text 7. नटन्तं गायन्तं हरिम् अनुवदन्तं पथि पथि व्रजन्तं पश्यन्तं स्वमपि नदयन्तं जनगणं प्रकुर्वन्तं शन्तं सकरुण दृगन्तं प्रकलनात् भजे नित्यानन्दं भजन तरुकन्दं निरवधि. Dancing, singing, and calling out the names of Sri Hari, he roams each and every path and inspires the passers-by and his own people to sing and dance. He casts upon the saintly He casts upon the saintly a glance from the corner of his merciful eyes. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. You see here, Lord Nityananda is glorified that he is always singing and dancing. Singing and dancing, singing and dancing. Not only is he always singing and dancing, but he is also everyone who comes across Lord Nityananda, he also inspires them to sing and dance. That is the glory of a Mahatma. That is the glory of an Acharya. Krishna Chaitanya, excuse me. An Acharya, he not only chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he not only tells everyone else to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but he himself practices that also. Srila Prabhupada would always say this one statement that, we are not like pseudo devotees who tell everyone else to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra or to follow regulative principles or to, render devotional service while we may be doing all kinds of nonsense. That is bogus preachers. Then that kind of, leadership or, spirituality has no meaning and no effect at all. But an acharya is a person who leads by example. If a person is saying that you need to chant Hare Krishna, then we must see that is he chanting Hare Krishna or she chanting Hare Krishna. If they are, then they're qualified to say. You see, only a perfect disciple can become a perfect guru. Srila Prabhupada is the example for that. What a perfect disciple Srila Prabhupada is. And therefore he became the perfect acharya, the perfect spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada, he not only created this beautiful organization of devotees, a home, he has built a home in which the entire world can live peacefully in the form of this, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This society, we have family in this society, that we have relationship with the devotees in this society that we may not have even with our blood relations. That is the glory of Srila Prabhupada. What relationships Srila Prabhupada has given us. Such pure, such selfless, such loving, such supportive relations. They are not connected to us by blood, but they are more dear to us than any of our, and they are more close to us than any of our blood relations, our own blood relatives. At least for us, we can see that as a practical attribute. And what Srila Prabhupada has given to us in the form of this International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The devotees. Such gift of this Sangha of devotees that we are blessed with, who stand by us, who are giving us the motivation to continue to move forward, who are holding our hands in difficult times. And we are holding each other's hands and we are walking ahead, we are marching ahead. Srila Prabhupada, a very beautiful analogy that I personally came across when Maharaj was sharing this. He said that when we take up Krishna consciousness, it's like, the material world, it's like a stream of river, a fountain of river that is coming downstream. It's going downstream. The current is coming downstream. And when we take up Krishna consciousness, we are embarking on a journey that goes upstream. It's going against the current. We are embarking on such a difficult journey that everybody, there's a crowd of people who are coming downstream, but we are commending to go upstream. It's a difficult task, no doubt about it. It's a very, very difficult task to render Krishna consciousness in this Kali Yuga is very difficult. This is the analogy, that we are going upstream, we are going against the current. If we are going alone by ourselves, it's very, very difficult to survive. We will be just stampeded by the crowd that is coming down. We'll be stampeded over. We won't be able to survive. That is where the association of devotees come into play. When we are holding each other's hands, when there is a group of people who are trying to go upstream, holding each other's hands, they can somehow keep going. They can keep going. They are going. So that makes it easy. The journey becomes easy to go upstream. Now let's imagine another scenario. Imagine if we have a rope that is tied to our waist and we are holding each other's hands. We also have a rope that is tied to our waist and it is pulled by someone who is on top of the hill. Someone is pulling us also. And we are also doing our effort of climbing upstream. Isn't that a much easier situation? It is more easy to go against the current in these circumstances. So that rope that is holding on to us, it is tied against our waist. That is the rope of the holy name that the spiritual master is throwing at us by holding on to our japamala, by chanting the japamala with the japamala. It's like a rope that is tied against our waist, and the spiritual master is pulling because he is already on the platform of pure devotional service. He is on top of the hill and he can pull us. The spiritual master, the senior devotees, they are pulling us. And we, along with the firm, holding on to the firm hands of the devotees with us, and the rope tied along our waist of the holy name, we are climbing against the current. And the spiritual master is pulling us by his mercy. And then one day we are rest assured that we will reach the top. We will reach the top. We will be able to climb this most difficult and treacherous, journey going uphill against the current. That is the glory of the Sangha of devotees. That is the glory of the spiritual masters and the senior devotees. By their mercy, we are able to survive. All we have to do is just keep moving our steps. Just keep going forward. Just keep going. Just keep climbing. That's the only effort that we have to do. The only effort, stay in the boat. Stay in the boat of ISKCON. Don't jump off. If we jump off, there are dangerous sharks, dangerous sea animals that will kill us, will destroy us, will just gulp us down. So let us not get, dissuaded. We should never get dissuaded. Never ever leave the association of devotees. Never ever leave ISKCON. Just stay in the movement, depend on the mercy of Guru and the senior devotees, and we will one day definitely reach the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master, by the mercy of the devotees, the spiritual master is a representative of Sri Nityananda Ram. And Lord Nityananda, the Adi Guru, the original spiritual master, he is assuring us that he will take care, that this is how he is inspiring us to simply just stay in the process. And when he does that, when we as sadhakas, when we do that, what does Lord Nityananda bless us with? This 7th verse talks about it, that he casts upon the saintly devotees a glance from the corner of his eyes. Kripa Kataksha. We sing the glories of Srimati Radharani, and Lord Shiva is glorifying this. It's called the Stavaraja. That how Srimati Radharani's sidelong glances, because when someone looks at, another person with a sidelong glance, it is said to be with so much love and so much of kripa, mercy. That is why even Lord Nityananda is casting a merciful sidelong glance upon the sadhakas, upon the saintly devotees who are on this path of singing and chanting. So Srimati Radharani is glorified by Lord Shiva himself. That her Kripa Kataksha, that Srimati Radharani's merciful sidelong glance is the objective of the devotee's life. That we be recipients of Srimati Radharani's sidelong glance, merciful sidelong glance. So we should always aspire that how can we become recipients of the merciful sidelong glance of our spiritual masters, of the senior devotees. It is okay for us to receive chastisement. It is perfectly all right. In fact, it is said that when the spiritual master chastises us, he chastises us because he has the faith that when we love someone to such an extent, only with that, authority, with that adhikar, we have the power to chastise somebody. Why do parents chastise us? Because we are their responsibility. They have the right to chastise us. Similarly, if we are getting chastised by our spiritual master, we should consider ourselves to be most fortunate that the spiritual master is considering us worthy enough that he knows that even if we receive chastisement, we will never leave his lotus feet. That is the faith that the spiritual master is having upon us, and he's chastising us. So, a devotee always is very grateful whether he receives praise from the guru or whether he receives chastisement for the guru. It's on the same level. In fact, receiving chastisement is a much more exalted position than receiving, glory from the guru. But to be recipients of neglect, if any devotee is neglecting us, if any devotee or our spiritual master neglects us, that is worse than death for that sadhaka. If we become recipients of neglect, then there is no hope for us whatsoever in our spiritual life. No hope. We should never ever become the recipients of neglect of another devotee. If that devotee is, because that means if anyone is neglecting us, that means they are very, very hurt by what we have done. And if anyone is neglecting us, then if a devotee is neglecting us, then Krishna will also neglect us. Then what is our hope? How will we get any kind of mercy? The mercy is blocked out. So, therefore, a devotee always aspires that come what may, even if I receive chastisements, that's very, very good, very good. But I should never be the recipient of neglect by another devotee. Do everything to glorify devotees. Let's do our best to glorify devotees. Sometimes, we may not have proper relationships with other devotees. There may be so many differences, but that does not mean that we don't respect another devotee. There is something called as, distance, respecting from a distance. A Vaishnava, a sincere sadhaka, respects even an ant. So, what to speak of another devotee? So, devotees should be respected no matter what. We may choose to associate with another devotee closely or from a distance. That's perfectly fine. That is perfectly shastric. But if we are maintaining some distance, we should always bear in mind that it is because we are not at that level to associate with them. That we are not able to see Pandita Samadarshana yet. Therefore, we are maintaining that distance. And it's perfectly healthy for our initial stages of Krishna consciousness. It's perfectly healthy to do that. But we should never ever disrespect another devotee and become recipients of their neglect. We should never do that. And we must try our best so that the neglect of the devotee is turned in favor of us, that they become merciful somehow or the other towards us. That should be the consciousness of a sadhaka. That should be the aspiration of a sadhaka. Then Lord Nityananda will shower his mercy. The merciful sidelong glance of Lord Nityananda will shower upon us. This brings us to the last verse of Sri Nityananda Ashtakam, the 8th verse. Subibranam Bhratukara Sarasijam Komalataram Mithovaktra Loko Chalita Paramananda Hridayam Brahmantam Madhuryaraha Madayantam Purajanan Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajana Tarukandam Niravadhi. Lord Nityananda gently held the supremely soft lotus hand of his brother, their hearts soaring upward in the highest bliss as they gazed at each other's faces. As he wandered here and there, he delighted the townspeople with his sweetness. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree. So here, Lord Nityananda, in his final verse, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur is glorifying Lord Nityananda to be inseparable from Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. The Lord Nityananda, he is not just always present with Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that he is always holding the hands, the soft lotus-like hands of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is always holding, you know, Lord Chaitanya's hand. So beautiful. The analogy that we just spoke, and they are always casting, beautiful glances at each other. The analogy that we just spoke of going uphill. It is said here that Lord Nityananda, he is actually always looking so beautifully at each other's faces, and their hearts are soaring upward. And their hearts are soaring upward. They're holding each other's hands, and their hearts are soaring upward while looking at each other so beautifully, by casting beautiful, loving glances at each other. They are setting the precedence of how devotee relationships should be. This is how devotee relationships should be. Holding each other's hands and, having loving relationships with devotees. That will make our lives really happy and blissful. If we have grudge against any devotee, we can never be happy. Never be happy. If we are having any kind of grudge, there is no question of having bliss. No question. The question then arises, then what to speak of another devotee when another devotee is offended by somebody, and that devotee is our friend or our very dear family, more than friend, then how should we react? That particular devotee may have not offended us, but they have offended someone very dear to us. How do we react in that way? The way to react is that we still don't have grudge against them. We never have grudge against anybody. But it is all right. Srila Prabhupada says in the Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto purport, he says that it is all right to not being able to forgive. Forgiving is one thing, and to have grudge, to have negative attitude towards somebody, to have ill feeling about somebody, that is another thing. So it is important for us to understand the distinction between the two. That how do we really continue to have, feelings of respect? That because they are Vaishnavas, we respect them. But yes, for the action that they may have done, we may not forgive that action. But we don't, just like how, Lord Nityananda, when he was convincing Lord Chaitanya to give his mercy to Jagai and Madhai, Lord Nityananda said that, my Lord, if you use your Sudarshan Chakra to kill Jagai and Madhai, then you have to kill everybody in Kali Yuga, because everybody in Kali Yuga is worse than Jagai and Madhai. But my Lord, you have come here. This particular incarnation of yours is for the purpose of killing the demoniac propensities amongst people, not to kill the demons. The killing of the demons is done in other yugas, not in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, everyone is actually having a demon inside them. Let's kill the demoniac propensities in everyone. That is the verdict of Lord Nityananda. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada always made this statement, that we never hate the sick, but let us hate the sickness that they carry. Let us, have ways that we can tackle the disease that those people are affected with. the negativities that they are affected with. How to take care of that? That is what a devotee thinks of. That a devotee may have offended another devotee, and because of that I may choose to refrain myself from associating with that devotee because of his offense to another devotee. But that does not mean that I hate that person. I don't hate that person. I don't wish anything ill upon that person. That is very, very horrible mentality. That because you've done bad to somebody, I wish that something bad happens to you. That is terrible. That is demoniac mentality. So, even if someone has offended a very dear devotee friend of ours, we should never hold a grudge against them. We must actually pray to Krishna that they get purified of those consciousness, of those, those horrible feelings that are making them do certain actions. They should get purified. That should be the aspiration of a sadhaka, of a sincere devotee. That's how they pray to the Lord. Sarvena sukhina bhavantu. Let everybody be happy in this world. That is the aspiration of a devotee. Krishner matirastu. Let everyone become a devotee. Let everyone be blessed by the mercy of Krishna. So when we have such aspirations, when this kind of attitude is pleasing to Guru and Krishna, this is how we can draw the merciful sidelong glance of Lord Nityananda, of our spiritual masters upon us. This is how we can do it. If we have grudge against someone, we are deflecting the mercy from us. But if we really are genuine well-wishers of everyone, we sincerely pray for everyone that they get rid of all negative qualities, then that is pleasing to Guru and Krishna. Then we are at least, being truthful to ourselves. We can stand with our head held high in front of our spiritual master that we have not done anything wrong. We are following the proper etiquettes of Vaishnava behavior. We can stand truthful in front of Krishna. And then we can really claim to be perfect recipients of the mercy coming down from Lord Nityananda. So, in the last verse, there's a text 9, which is talking about the Falastuti, or the result of reciting these 8 beautiful verses in glorification of Lord Nityananda. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying that may Sri Nityananda Prabhu's 2 lotus feet brilliantly manifest in the hearts of those who recite this unprecedented and supremely potent Sri Nityananda Ashtakam, which is the reservoir of rasa, the treasure of exalted Rasika Vaishnavas, and the abode of the essence of Bhakti Rasa. It bestows liberation upon all fallen souls who simply remember it. This is the benediction that is given by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur to the reciters of Sri Nityananda Ashtakam, that the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda will manifest in our heart. The Lord's lotus feet. Nitai pada kamala, koti chandra shushitala. The brilliantly effulgent, moon-like lotus feet of Lord Nityananda will manifest in our heart if we can recite this Nityananda Ashtakam in the proper mood, by having the proper attitude of gratitude towards everyone. Then Lord Nityananda's lotus feet will manifest in our heart and make our heart the permanent residence place of Lord Nityananda's lotus feet. So yesterday was along with the appearance day of Srimati Sita Devi, the consort of Lord Ramachandra, and of Srimati Janava Devi, the consort of Lord Nityananda. We also had the disappearance of Sri Madhu Pandit. Now, regarding Madhu Pandit, it is explained that Sri Madhu Pandit, there is no direct reference of Sri Madhu Pandit in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but he is mentioned in Sri Bhakti Ratnakar And in the Bhakti Ratnakar, he is mentioned that Sri Gopinath, the worshipful, the presiding deity of, there is the presiding deity of Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. So Gopinath deity is the presiding deity of Prayojana. That Gopinath ji manifested himself before Madhu Pandit, and Madhu Pandit was the worshipper of Shri Radha Gopinath ji. It is said in the Bhakti Ratnakar, it is said that, O Srinivas, what more can I say? The Lord reveals himself to his pure devotees, who then preaches his glories to the world. Who can describe their incomprehensible activities by which the Lord becomes subservient to their love? Thus did Sri Brajendra Kumar reveal himself to Paramananda Bhattacharya and Sri Madhu Pandit, who is the abode of many wonderful qualities. These are the only two lines that are actually found glorifying Sri Madhu Pandit and his, beautiful services to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath. It is said that, if you may recollect, a few weeks ago when we were talking about Janava Devi's glories, we were talking about the Gopinath deity at Kamyavan. That Janava Devi, Gopinath had pulled on Janava Devi's sari and, made her sit next to him on his left side. So Janava Devi is, this is the only temple, in the entire creation, that Srimati Radharani is on the right of Sri Gopinath, and Janava Mata is manifesting as Ananga Radhika, as the sister of Srimati Radharani, and she is sitting on the left of Sri Gopinath ji. And this deity at Kamyavan was worshipped by Madhu Pandit. So Janava Mata has a very close connection with Madhu Pandit, and that is why with Radha Gopinath ji, when we sing, the bhajan, which is called Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava, it is the Jaya Krishna, Radha Krishna Giti, it is called. So there, this particular, all the deities, main deities of Vrindavan, they are glorified, and who was their main servitor is also glorified. Like Radha Madhava was worshipped by Jayadev Goswami. Radha Madan Mohan was worshipped by Sanatan Goswami. Radha Govinda was worshipped by Rupa Goswami. And similarly, Radha Gopinath ji was worshipped by Madhu Pandit. So we will sing just the three Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana deities, that is Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govinda, and Radha Gopinath. So we'll just sing these three verses from this particular song and glorify and remember Sri Madhu Pandit, so that, just the way that Gopinath ji manifested to Madhu Pandit, we beg to Sri Madhu Pandit that by his mercy, the Lord will also manifest his mercy upon all of us. So with this prayer, we'll just conclude today's session by reciting these beautiful verses. जय जय राधा मदन मोहन, राधा मदन मोहन राधे, श्रील सनातनिर प्राण धन है। जय जय राधा मदन मोहन, सनातनिर प्राण धन है। जय जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे, जय जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे, श्रील रूप गोस्वामीर प्राण धन है। जय जय राधा गोविंद रूप गोस्वामीर प्राण धन है। जय जय राधा गोविंद राधे, जय जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे। श्रील मधुपंडितेर प्राण धन है, जय जय राधा गोपीनाथ। मधुपंडितेर प्राण धन है, जय जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधे। जय श्री श्रीमद पंडित की जय, श्री नित्यानंद राम की जय, श्रील वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, इस्कॉन वर्तमान गुरु वृंद की जय, जय निताई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. If there's any questions, comments, or reflections, we can take that now. Before we take any phone questions, I have a question from Kay over online. Kay is asking, if you do not have many devotee friends, what do you do? I am always seeking devotee friends, but seem to be running more into materialistic people. Very practical question, Kay. Thank you so much for asking this question. Yes, we do need the association of devotees. We do need devotee friends. And we are all here for you. Please never ever consider yourself alone. You are joining us through these different online sessions. So we are here to hold your hand and move forward in our spiritual journey together. So we are here to be your friends. So please never consider yourself that you're alone. It is said that sincere devotees, Krishna guides them to sincere association. So the very fact that you are here in this beautiful Bhakti Sangha, session with all of us, we are your friends. So never consider yourself alone. I hope this helps. Any questions from our phone line?
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for wonderful class, Mataji. Every point was wonderful. You explained very detailedly. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Vardhana Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any more reflections or realizations, comments?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Koti Koti Dandat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Jai Jai Nityananda, Jai Jai Gauranga, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Govind ki jai. No words to your sincere seva. Thank you very much. Again, start seva from every Saturday. Koti Koti Dandat Pranam Mataji. Hare Hare Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. We have another question from Satya. Satya Pothuru. Mataji, when you say stay away from the devotee who offended, rather than hating that devotee, my question is, by this, how can we help that devotee from correcting their mistake? Well, if we are in the position that we can correct a devotee, we may try, but generally, if we are not in that position, if we don't have that kind of a relationship that we can go and talk to that devotee, then better to stay away. But if we do have the relationship, that if we are seeing that a very dear friend of ours, who is a devotee friend of ours and who is committing some offense to another devotee, if we have that relationship, then by all means, yes, go and very respectfully try to talk and see why they are doing what they are doing. So there's nothing wrong, but it depends. It just depends on what kind of relationship that we have with that person. So I hope that answers your question. And Kay, you have another question. if you can send, you have a question that how can we join? You live in Washington, D.C. Okay. So we can get you in touch with some local devotees, but we do have an online Bhakti Vriksha also, which you can join. And I can give you some details on that if you can message us, and we can definitely, go from there. We can get you connected. So thank you so much, Kay, again, and Satya Prabhu. Thank you for your question. I hope this answers your question. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji Dharma Pranam. That you can ask the devotees to join the Bhakti Sangha conference call.
Yes.
It's a very good association, and we have so many classes in the
Yes.
day. Like,
Yes, I will
yeah. Thank you.
definitely. I will
Yeah,
definitely do that.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The question is coming from my mother. I request all the devotees to pray for my parents. They are reading Bhagavatam and they are on 10th canto right now. So it's mentioned in Bhagavatam that when Krishna was born, Nanda Maharaja donated so many cows. Even Vasudev, he couldn't do that because he did it in the mind. But Nanda Maharaja has done actually. So I don't remember the exact figure, but the figure is so big, Mataji. And she was asking where all these cows came from and whom they donated and how much space they need to even say that the cows. It's like, unbelievable.
Yes. Yes. That is very true. The kind of charity that is done by Nanda Maharaj. And Nanda Maharaj himself was the owner of 900,000 cows. He had 900,000 cows in his Goshala. So for him to give away 1,000 cows was not a big deal at all. And that was the population, that was the kind of brahmanas that were there. And nowadays we don't see that kind of settlements. We see so much barren land that is not either utilized even for residences, it's not utilized for agriculture. We see so much barren land. But in the previous days, hardly would be any barren land. It was always either used for agriculture, or it was used for residentials. So because people would actually, there were Vaishyas who would actually grow their own food. They would subsist on farming and agriculture. So they would need cows, and there was a lot of room. You see, the planet Earth can provide so much. It is said that a little sparrow, a tiny little sparrow, eats 10 times more than a normal human being can eat. Isn't that an amazing fact? I mean, who can think that a tiny little sparrow can eat 10 times more than a human being every day? An elephant. It an elephant eats 10 tons of food every single day. Where do they get that? So many elephants, so many sparrows. How do we know that, who is providing for them? It is Krishna who is providing. It is Mother Earth who is providing. So provisions are never stopped. There is, the facilities are there. We just need to know how to utilize them. In the previous ages, everyone knew how to respect Mother Earth and how to therefore utilize her provisions. So where they would store out the cows, because land was not just kept like, how we see so much land which is just lying useless nowadays. That was not the scenario in the previous days. I hope this kind of answers your question, and hope this helps, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for this beautiful time.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. All right. if there's no more questions or comments, can we um, end the call here?
One question,
Yes.
Mataji, sorry for
Yes.
asking last minute. Mataji, sometimes we'll be so nice to the devotees, Mataji, and coming to the family members, even we want to be the close, then they're not like how we are being. So in that time, we always maintain distance with family.
Mm-hmm.
We are very nice to devotees, Mataji. I'm so confused why we are not being so close to family, but with the devotees, how to handle such situations, Mataji.
You mean with family who are devotees or with family who are not devotees?
Not devotees who are.
Okay, with family who are not devotees, you see, it is a little difficult because the aspirations are different, the goals are different. They may not be appreciative of the fact that someone from their family is taking up Krishna consciousness and someone is not. And although most Indians, trust me when I say this, that most Indians, or most everybody on this planet, not just Indians, but everybody knows that doing or performing spiritual activities is never a bad thing. But the reason why people oppose, especially our relatives oppose, is that they are not able to do it, because of probably their material attachments or whatever may be the reason. And therefore they pose as if they are opposing us also. That's what happens. So it is up to us. Therefore Srila Prabhupada also always said that the best way to preach to our relatives is by actions, not so much by words, not so much by words at all, because people may not be able to take that. So therefore it is important that we are not you know our aspirations need to match. That's why probably there is no proper relationship. But if we can try and just be cool and casual with them, and not pose as if we are doing something out of this world by becoming devotees, that we are doing something special by becoming devotees, just be normal with them. And just by our action we are just showing that yes, we are the same person, but we have just included Krishna in our lives knowingly, and not make a big deal out of it, because sometimes they're not able to take it. But somehow just give them prasad, get them to be as favorable as possible. A Krishna conscious devotee, they try to see that if some relatives maybe like reading, they'll give them Prabhupada's books to read. If someone likes to eat, most of us like to eat. So just make some nice food stuff, offer it to Krishna, give them prasad. So somehow or the other, you are instrumental in starting their spiritual life. So, that's something that I can say about this, and I hope this helps.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If nobody have any question, can we end the call here? Okay, let's pay obeisances to Mataji and to all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavlebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
This session is no longer being recorded.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for another beautiful class.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.